brothers and sisters, make up your mind that you will never participate in any activity that will result in the death of a Muslim. We have to not be like the people the Prophet foretold, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who will follow the Jews and Christians right into a lizard's hole. Try to live humbly on the earth. Try not to be part of this consumer culture and society. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidil Mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Imam Zaid Shakir, and I'm here to recommend to my Muslim brothers and sisters everywhere 5 steps, 5 things we can do over and beyond the things we should be doing anyway, such as reading the Quran, etc. 5 things we can do to not only improve the quality of our lives, but to make this world a better place for everyone. Step number 1, brothers and sisters, make up your mind that you will never participate in any activity that will result in the death of a Muslim. If you make up your mind to do this, all of the wars and the hardships, strife, incivility tearing the Muslim world apart will stop immediately. Someone might say, well, what if there's some transgressing force? Be like Uthman, or as we were advised by our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, kun abdullah al-maqtul wa la takun abdullah al-qatil. Be the servant of Allah who's killed, don't be the servant of Allah who is the killer. So that is my first advice, and I'm sure everyone could relate to that, whether we want to or don't want to. Too many Muslims are making too many excuses to kill their fellow brothers and sisters. And this is destroying our ummah, it's destroying our lands, it's destroying even our cities, it's destroying our ability to grow and to prosper. It's squandering our resources. We buy these weapons primarily to use against other Muslims, primarily, as we see in Yemen and elsewhere. Don't kill another Muslim. And this is grave. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us, La zawalu dunya a'zamu indallah min qatli rajulin mu'min. That the whole world would be wiped out is lighter with Allah than participates in killing a believer even by uttering a half of a word. Will meet Allah on the day of judgment, written across their forehead, between their eyes, I despair of the mercy of Allah. So that's number 1. Never do anything that will result in the killing of another Muslim. Number 2, we have to be very conscious of how we live in this world. A believer is not a person who wastes. A believer is not a mindless consumer. A jellyfish is a mindless, brainless consumer. Spineless, has no courage. Mindless, has no brain, consumer just eats the garbage of the sea. We're not jellyfish, brothers and sisters. We are Muslims, we are believers, we are servants of Allah, we are followers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we can't be wasteful. Our seas are clogged up with litter and plastic and water bottles. So my second suggestion, try to live humbly on the earth. Try not to be part of this consumer culture and society. If we buy a bread, we have one bag, cloth bag. We go every day to the bakery, get the bread, put it in the bag. Don't take the plastic bags and paper bags and throw them in the garbage, and the garbage piles up in our streets, and we collect it all and take it in the ocean and dump it out, and ends up on our beaches. The plastic bottles end up in the stomachs of the sea turtles and other aquatic life. The small bottle caps and straws end up in the birds' stomachs. So try to be environmentally conscious, brothers and sisters. When you leave a room at night, turn the light off. Don't leave the television going hour and hour when no one's even watching it. And cutting down on television, that's the next one. We'll get to that one. But try to live more consciously. And I know many brothers and sisters in other parts of the world don't have the problems with waste and trash and packaging, generally speaking, that we have here in the United States. But I've lived in Cairo, I've lived in Morocco, and I've seen how the garbage, despite the less materialistic ways of life and standards of living, I've seen how the garbage piles up. I've seen we buy things that are packaged in these lavish packages. One miswak is in a box, and the box is in a plastic container. Just keep the miswak open, take it, wash it off, and use the thing. We don't need all of this packaging and marketing and all of this stuff. So live more consciously. Turn lights off. Turn the television off when you're not watching it. Try to encourage the implementation of solar panels for electricity. I was just talking or listening, overhearing a conversation between two gentlemen talking about the electricity cutting off in a particular Muslim country. If you had a solar panel on your roof, all of that sun that's there during the dry season, that right there will keep the electricity on all day long, especially during the daytime. So we should try to be more conscious and to implement and to encourage those technologies, to be pioneers. The Muslim world has been blessed with a lot of sun. Perhaps these days, as the rainy season becomes less and less, too much sun. Take advantage. We should be taking advantage of that sun. We should be taking advantage of the breeze. Cities like Karachi, right on the sea, you get the sea breeze, windmills on top of our houses. So that's the second thing. Try to be more environmentally conscious, because we can see the effects of the global warming and climate change perhaps more starkly than any other people, because Muslims generally live in semi-arid climates that are becoming more and more arid. And then when the rain does come, it comes in torrents and floods, and not throughout and in shorter periods of time, and not throughout the duration of the rainy season. So we see the impact of what we're doing to our environment. We should try to be far more environmentally conscious. Number three, we have to not be like the people the Prophet foretold, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who will follow the Jews and Christians right into a lizard's hole. And specifically, we have to really eliminate, to the extent possible, the use of social media. There's a lot of research here in the United States in terms of the damage of what it's doing to our ability to just relate to each other as human beings. We're sending texts, we're wrapped up into these addictive technologies. There are researchers, psychologists, psychiatrists, software writers and designers, mathematicians who are creating algorithms rather to make our devices addictive. Why does Facebook have a like and a thumbs up? Because when you get one, you get a dopamine rush. So the same chemicals that are released in one's brain when you use heroin, dopamine is released in the brain, and people become addicted to that. Here in this country, in the United States, this is a leading cause of escalating rates of suicide amongst teenage girls, because they'll take their selfie and then they'll post it, and if no one likes it, or if their friends tease them, then they'll get depressed. And if it happens over and over, that depression moves into suicidal impulses. And many of these young ladies are taking their own lives. So these technologies have potential, a dark side. And we should try to use it in moderation and as least as possible, so that we can avoid that slippery slope that leads to the dark side. Also, we can retain the ability to interact with each other as human beings. This is very, very important for us. Number 4, we have to remain an ummah of readers. Islam started with the simple command, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Lord who created. We have to be a community of readers. There was a time where virtually everyone in this Muslim ummah knew how to read the Quran. So they were at least literate in that particular skill. And that translated into great traditions of literacy. And those traditions of literacy, even for the illiterate, they had an impact, because the literary tradition that gave us Hafiz and Sa'idi and culminated with the likes of Iqbal and his poetry and his Shakfa, Jawab al-Shakfa, and all of this great literary heritage, the illiterate people memorized it. So a farmer would be Falahi, who's nominally illiterate. He's out in his field reciting Hafiz and reciting Sa'idi and reciting Rumi and Mathnawi. And so his life is shaped by the metaphysical messages that are enriching his humanity, even though he can't formally read. But he's a beneficiary of that great literary tradition that we as Muslims have. We have to retain that. We have to read about our religion. Our religion is a religion of educated, literate people. We have to read about the world, what's happening in our world, what are the social trends. We have a habit as Muslims, we just read in our specialty. If we're a doctor, we only read in the realm of medicine. If we're an engineer, we only read in the realm of engineering long enough to get our degree. And once we get our degree and get a job, we stop growing intellectually, even in our chosen profession. This cannot be our way. From the common people to the educated people, we have to be a literary society, and ideally literary in more than one language. In Arabic or English, Arabic and Urdu, Farsi, Urdu, and Arabic. That was very common at one time, to have people mastered those three languages. Now we can barely know a little English, enough to help an American tourist and fleece them for a few dollars. We know enough Urdu to talk with the people and relatives, but not enough to read the poetic tradition that Urdu gave birth to. We know enough Arabic to read the Quran and recite our prayers, but not enough Arabic to delve into that vast tradition of tafsir and hadith commentary and the literary tradition of the Arabs. We have to strive to the best of our ability, brothers and sisters, to change that. And number 5, we have to be people of mercy. A lot of people talk about justice. They want justice for the wrongs that have been done. This one wants justice for the wrongs that were done to their grandfathers and their grandmothers. This one wants justice for the wrong that was done to the nation. This one wants justice for this. Justice clearly has its place in Islam. No one's arguing that. But we should also remember fairness and mercy. That before we're people of justice, because justice doesn't always come in this world. Justice is one of the great tests for a believer. Why? Because he or she might work for their whole life and they never get it. They never get it for themselves. They never get it for their people. They never get it for their state, their nation. That's a trial, to work something for your whole life and then to accept that sometimes for some things we have to wait until we die and we meet Allah Ta'ala, and then there'll be perfect justice. In the meantime, we have to be merciful. We have to be merciful, and we have to pursue social mercy as much as we pursue social justice. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as you all know, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. He described himself, or Allah Ta'ala rather describes him in the Quran as a mercy to all of the worlds. The first hadith that we learn as scholars, students of knowledge, when we start studying hadith, al-hadith al-musalsalu bil-awwaliyah. The hadith that's traditionally the first hadith that the student receives from their master. الراحمون يرحمهم الرحمن ارحموا من في الأرض يرحمكم من في السماء. The merciful people are the ones the all-merciful will show mercy to. We have to be amongst those rahimin, brothers and sisters. This is very, very important, because why? This opens the floodgates for us receiving the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rahimun yarhamuhum ar-Rahman. Laysa minna man lam yarham saghirana ويعرف قدر كبيرنا. He or she is not amongst us who is not merciful to our young and recognizes the right of our elderly. Mercy, brothers and sisters. We'll conclude this by this concept I mentioned, social mercy, mercy to everyone. The Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said, لَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا حَتَّى تَرَاحَمُوا. You will not enter paradise until you truly believe, and you will not be true, you will not truly believe until you are merciful to one another. كُلُّنَا رَحِيمٌ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ قَالُوا كُلُّنَا رَحِيمٌ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. They said, all of us are merciful, O Messenger of Allah. فقال صلى الله عليه وسلم إنه ليس برحمة أحدكم صاحبه. I'm not talking about the mercy that one of you shows to those close to him. I'm not talking about the mercy between the mother and the child and the parents, the neighbor to the neighbor, the relative to the relative. That's something we should do anyway. إنه ليس برحمة أحدكم صاحبه ولكنها رحمة الناس رحمة العامة. What I'm talking about is the mercy you should show to all of humanity, the mercy you should show to the general public. We know how merciless even some Muslims can be. How much merciless does it take to put a bomb in the marketplace, put a bomb in the bus, blowing up innocent people? Merciless. وَلَكِنَّهَا رَحْمَةُ النَّاسِ is the mercy to all of humanity. رَحْمَةُ الْعَامَّةِ, the mercy to all the worlds. May Allah help us and bless us to take these things into our lives. Those are the 5 things I could suggest. If you gave me more time, I might suggest 5 other things, but it is what it is, as they say. May Allah bless all of you. Bless all the wonderful brothers and sisters who are listening or viewing this program. May Allah Ta'ala bless the organizers of the program, the production staff, the creators, the writers, everyone. And inshallah, we'll see you in Karachi or Lahore, or if not, in Mecca, which is even better. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Imam Zaid Shakir, wishing all of you a wonderful, blessed morning, day, evening, or night, whatever the case may be. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.